late, one of the central themes that Imam Muslim always speaks about in his khutbahs, and it's this theme of duality. And the one duality that I want to point out in relation to xenophobia is this duality of good and bad. Why does bad things have to happen? And is Allah responsible for these bad things that happen? And so, for the last 2 weeks, we've seen the kind of murderous intent on the part of some citizens of the country against foreigners, which resulted in the horrific deaths of up to 7 people in various parts of Joburg and KZN. And that is the bad part of it. While we saw people fleeing the country, they were taking trains and buses and taxis out of South Africa, back to their countries of origin where they initially fled from. The counterweight to that has actually sprung into action. This week alone there's been 2 marches, one in KZN and one in Joburg, where the violence was focused, and people literally in their thousands started marching. Here in Cape Town, it was a mass meeting called by COSATU, and just 5 minutes before the meeting was supposed to start, there was load shedding, the lights went out, and I suspected that because it was already dark, that people would be leaving, and the hall was full. There were Methodists, there were Catholics, there were Protestants, everybody pushing the same message, including people who are atheists. And everybody was honing in on this one theme about the love that we must have for the rest of humanity. And for me, that was such a good counterweight to the prevailing narrative of hate. There was a Maulana that was invited, and the beer that they had was your classic Maulana beer, this long, very white, obviously very elderly person, and he was giving a very arousing speech about, quoting from Quran about the love that we must have for humanity and so on, and that during the time of apartheid these people and the countries gave us refuge and so on. And then the one thing that just struck me was that the Imam was actually being very inauthentic, because although he was quoting from the text of the Quran, I didn't really get the spiritual message behind it. So it's one thing to quote and another thing to love. That is why I'm inspired by the words that you use in terms of the Prophet of Allah being a living Quran. Because this Maulana was expressing this message, but I wasn't getting it. And what I wasn't getting was that because of the xenophobia being in the media, he was saying all the right words, but in a sense it was falling on deaf ears. I could hear the comments in the crowd, because when everybody else was speaking, everybody was inspired, and people were saying, yes, Maulana, you're saying the right thing until it's homosexuals, until it's Shias. In other words, this Maulana's humanity was reserved for a specific group of people. It's not reserved for all of the people.